very much. I think everybody's energized and engaged, hopefully. Right, my name's Alistair Schofield. I work for a company called My Brain International, and we specialize in providing tools and materials to enable people to incorporate the subject of neuroscience in their own learning and development work. I first became interested in neuroscience, I think it was back in the 80s when I was working for the computer company Unisys. And I got sent on a training program and was asked to complete a psychometric profile. I was quite interested in the results. I was really looking forward to getting them back. But I have to say I was quite disappointed at the same time. I mean, they didn't really tell me anything I didn't already know about myself. And really it was quite interesting to fill in a short questionnaire and get such profound answers. But at the same time, I didn't really want to know how I was. I already knew that. I wanted to know why I was the way I was. And that's really what sparked our interest in understanding more about this the boundary between our physical brains and the psychology of the person. We've just been talking about minds. And it's sort of like, how does your mind come out of your brain? Because it's just a physical object. So that's where my sort of interest started. Right, quick question for you to begin with. Why do you have a brain? To think? Yes, she says, I wonder myself sometimes. Yeah? Why do you have a brain? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, to perform all the functions of the body, yeah. Yep, give instructions. Yep, to make decisions. Actually, that's probably closest to what I was shooting for. At its very lowest level, you have a brain. Sorry? To reason. Yeah, but at its very lowest level, you have a brain because you move. You think about it. Things that don't move don't need brains. Trees live that don't need brains. There's a very interesting creature called a sea squirt. The sea squirts start off life as a little creature, like a tadpole, swimming in the sea. And their sole objective in life at that stage is to find a rock to anchor to. And they have a very elementary brain because they have to move through the sea. They have to find a rock. And when they anchor themselves to the rock, they never move again for the rest of their lives. So they actually consume their own brain in transforming themselves into something more akin to a plant. So you have a brain because you need to interact dynamically with the world around you. Otherwise, you'd fall off cliffs or walk in front of cars. So it's about how you deal with that dynamic interaction. That's what your brain is for. Now, I brought along a brain to show you. This is a life-size model of a human brain. It's quite interesting, really. Well, sort of. In fact, actually, this is more interesting than real brains because part of it's been painted blue for some strange reason. Your brain doesn't have a blue bit or yellow or anything else. In fact, it really looks a bit like scrambled egg. Not very interesting at all, really. But human brains haven't always been like this. In fact, actually, anthropologists regard our oldest ancestor as being Australopithecus, which lived in Africa around about 4 million years ago. Now, Australopithecus' brain was about 650 cubic centimeters in size. We know that from the fossil records of skulls. Unfortunately, brains don't preserve very well, so we don't really know a lot about historic brains. But we do know about the size. A modern-day human brain is about 1,900 cubic centimeters. So in 4 million years, your brain has more or less trebled in size. That's all, really. It's just 3 times the size. But if you look at what else has happened to humanity over those 4 million years, it's quite fascinating. You know, we've gone through various stages of evolution, but really most of it has happened in the latter part of those 4 million years. You know, when we draw change curves, they always go like that. Well, that's exactly the same in terms of human evolution. It wasn't until 200,000 years ago that the sapiens emerged, our oldest direct ancestors, Homo sapiens. We're Homo sapiens. It wasn't until 40,000 years ago that the very first cave paintings have been dated as. And it wasn't until 10,000 years ago that there was evidence of the very first building. And if you think about it, it was only 250 years ago, the Industrial Revolution. My point is that for the best part of 4 million years, we lived like this. Now, humans only change at the pace of evolution. Brains only change at the pace of evolution. It took 4 million years for our brains to treble in size. But in just 0.25% of that time, we've gone from this, the very first building, to the cities we now live in. Places like London, New York, Mumbai. Just look at the buildings around you. It's fascinating, really, the evolution that we've gone through in this very short window of time.